Tonight, unanswered questions.
No obvious human remains uncovered.
Death Race 2012.
Shouldn't have happened. Dumb thing to do. But let me assure you that it's not the last dumb thing that we'll see happen.
Ticket outrage.
Just when you think you know all the new rules on account of the new Muni meters, new tickets start going out.
The news is now.
Hello, I'm Jody Applegate. Now your Pix 11 at 10. A Soho basement apparently hasn't given up many secrets in the case of Eitan Pates. The NYPD and the feds have ended their latest search effort. Arthur Chen joins us live with more on what investigators did and did not find. Arthur?
Jody, tonight you can see that the barricades have been pulled to the side. The forensics teams that were behind us have packed up and left. Over the last few days, there was this hope infused with excitement that after 33 years, we might finally find out what happened to Eitan Pates and more importantly, be able to tell his parents. But as it turns out tonight, this lead has gone the way all of the leads have gone over the last 33 years.
No obvious human remains uncovered.
5 words. It takes only 5 words to kill a hope that has been burning for more than 3 decades, and these 5 did it today.
No obvious human remains found.
The winding investigation that led to the basement of 127B Prince Street took 5 days to get to the bottom of, but ends with no remains and few pieces of forensic evidence. Some strands of hair that do not appear to be human, and a splotch or stain on the wall that does not appear to be blood. Long shots to be re-examined at an FBI lab in Quantico.
Was there any positive field testing?
Not that I'm aware of.
The sad tale of 6-year-old Eitan Pates gripped the city once again, only to end up with wilted hopes and heads hung low. Prayers for an end to one of the most iconic mysteries of the city, a disappearance that changed the way children are supervised and the urgency with which our nation addresses missing children cases.
We work on old and sometimes cold cases as a reminder to those individuals who commit crimes that law enforcement is dedicated for the long haul.
With all this, Jose Ramos, for the time being, remains the prime suspect, currently serving a pedophilia prison term on an unrelated case. As for the carpenter who was renting this basement in 1979, Othniel Miller, the FBI appeared to pressure him during the past week with leaks to the media, but now no evidence from the basement from which you can see the fire escape of Eitan's parents. Occasionally these past days, they came out to survey the dig that was going on below. Their 33-year wait will unfairly and unbelievably demand more patience of them.
If we look for something positive in this, and we really have to look deep in order to find it, it is of perseverance. Eitan's parents have refused to move, have refused to give up their phone number in case he surfaces again one day. And by the way, through all this, it occurred to us how amazing it is that they've been able to stay a married couple despite how unbearable this loss has been for them and how many constant reminders there are of that loss. Live in Soho tonight, Arthur Chen, Pix 11 News. We now go to Narmeen Chaudhry alongside the Garden State Parkway.
Almost oblivious to anyone around them, a caravan of luxury sports cars raced down the Garden State Parkway, literally raced at about 110 miles per hour. What's worse is that New Jersey state troopers were escorting them.
Yeah, I just shook my head. I mean, like, what are you going to do? I mean, it's a completely ridiculous story.
Governor Chris Christie reacts after learning 2 of his state troopers may have played a role in a dangerous race down the New Jersey Turnpike, Garden State Parkway, and Atlantic City Expressway last month.
Shouldn't have happened. Dumb thing to do. But let me assure you that it's not the last dumb thing that we'll see happen.
According to the New York Post, former Giants running back Brandon Jacobs was in the high-speed caravan en route to Atlantic City as well. Reports indicate witnesses saw 2 trooper cars with flashing lights. Behind them, about 30 luxury sports cars, including Lamborghinis and Ferraris, with their license plates covered with tape.
I'm glad nobody got hurt. I'm glad we're not talking about a bigger tragedy today than what we're talking about, which just is a dumb thing to have done that could have been a tragedy and could have hurt other people.
This video from YouTube shows a similar incident from 2010. Again, the Post says, and you can see, several luxury cars speeding down the parkway with troopers as their escorts. That, along with this most recent incident, are now both under investigation by the New Jersey Attorney General's office and the New Jersey State Police. Both are calling last month's escort an unauthorized one by state troopers. The Attorney General says we will not tolerate any conduct by a member of the state police that puts the public in jeopardy. Adding to that, Colonel Joseph Fuentes, superintendent of the New Jersey State Police, says, as troopers, we cannot require the public to obey laws that we are not willing to uphold for everyone equally. I will not tolerate this egregious breach of public safety. In the meantime, the two troopers involved, 25-year veteran Sergeant First Class Nader Nasri and Trooper Joseph Ventrella, who has been on the force for 6 years, have both been suspended without pay.
Those people who made this mistake should be held accountable for it, and I'm sure they will.
Governor Christie says he has complete faith in the Attorney General's office as well as Colonel Fuentes as this investigation continues. As for if there will be any charges or motor vehicle summons issued, none have been filed as of yet. Along the Garden State Parkway, I'm Narmeen Chaudhry, Pix 11 News. We now go to Jay Dow in the newsroom.
Narmeen, there are new developments in the Trayvon Martin case. George Zimmerman, who spent weeks in hiding until his arrest last week, is now no longer behind bars. And while his exact whereabouts are unknown to the public, for law enforcement, he is on a short leash. George Zimmerman emerged from the Seminole County Sheriff's Office just after midnight last night, wearing a brown jacket over what appeared to be body armor. He and a man identified in media reports as his bail bondsman held paper bags before they climbed into a white BMW SUV and drove off to an undisclosed location.
This is the first few steps of it, and he's still very worried about the fact that he's facing a life sentence on a second-degree murder charge.
But the sheriff's office confirms deputies are actively tracking Zimmerman via a GPS monitoring device, one of the many stipulations of his $150,000 bail. Defense attorney Mark O'Mara says his client, who claims he shot Trayvon Martin in self-defense, intends to keep a low profile while awaiting trial. Back in Sanford, the police department is in the news again.
Chief Lee is paying for the sins of past police officers.
The city's commission members rejected embattled police chief Bill Lee's offer to resign today by a close 3-2 vote. Lee temporarily stepped down last month after the commission gave him a vote of no confidence for his handling of the case up to that point. Chief Lee will remain on paid administrative leave while an investigation continues into the Sanford Police Department's handling of the Trayvon Martin case. Jody.
Thank you, Jay. And now to the latest from the Pix 11 news desk. For the first time, we're seeing video of that wild fight that ended in the death of a groom-to-be. Last month, Antonio Lacertosa was killed during his engagement party in Staten Island. You can see the brawl that led to the killing. The actual stabbing isn't on the video, but you can see Lacertosa clutching his side before he collapsed. Friends tried to revive him. They tried to carry him to an SUV to get him to the hospital, but by then police had arrived. The pavement where he lay stabbed was covered in blood. A grand jury watched this video last month, and they decided the man who stabbed him acted in self-defense. Day one in the trial of a Florida woman accused of having her husband murdered in White Plains. Prosecutors think a prenuptial deal motivated Narcy Novak. Witnesses will include an exotic dancer who was having an affair with Ben Novak, as well as the alleged killers. Ben Novak, a millionaire hotel heir, was beaten to death at a hotel in Rybrook during a business trip. Mrs. Novak would get all the money. Your rent is not going up, at least not because of this. The U.S. Supreme Court refused to hear a challenge to New York City's decades-old rent stabilization system. This means landlords can't touch the rent caps. Building owners had appealed a lower court's ruling. They claim the city's violating their constitutional rights by limiting rents because they say tenants are paying half the amount of what the units should cost, sometimes even more than that. Here's what's making news across the country and overseas. Singer Jennifer Hudson broke down in tears today while testifying at a murder trial. The suspect is accused of killing her mother, brother, and 7-year-old nephew 4 years ago. Hudson told the court how she had warned her sister Julia Hudson about marrying William Balfour. He's accused of killing Hudson's family in a jealous rage at their home in Chicago. The political corruption trial of former Senator John Edwards began today. He's accused of using campaign contributions to hide his pregnant mistress. A former campaign worker testified that he met with one of the two wealthy donors who provided the money. He said the money man promised to do everything to get Edwards elected. At the time, Edwards' wife was battling cancer. She died a year later. Cops in Utah say a couple of nut jobs planted medieval booby traps along a popular hiking trail, like this spiked ball. It was designed to swing at the head. Another would have caused someone to fall into wooden spikes in the ground. Police say the traps were set along a trail in Provo Canyon last week. Both traps were set with tripwire. The perps were caught after one of them bragged about his handiwork on Facebook. They're only charged with misdemeanors because nobody got hurt. After an unusually warm and dry winter, a freak storm wreaked havoc in parts of the Northeast. This nor'easter packed high winds, soaking rain, and springtime snow. Some cities got about 3 feet, and it left nearly 4 million homes without power. That brings us to number 11, and 11 is more on the weather. Let's bring in Mr. G to tell us if any more of that trouble is headed our way. G?
Not really, generally clearing skies in around the region, but the flakes flew upstate New York. Check this out from Bradford to 10 to 15 inches of snow. Who do you know in Altoona, Pennsylvania? 5 to 10 inches there. And now we're going to move it and show you some clusters of very light snow beginning to taper off. That's good news. We're basically dry. The temperature in the Midtown area holding in the mid-40s. The split should be 62 and 47, 43 degrees in Philly, 41 degrees in Reading. So again, as we dry it out, we look for next 24 hours, Tuesday night. That's my forecast for the Met game. Did you like that batting sound?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to check out the forecast for tomorrow night, Wednesday, the rest of the week. But the cool air is going to be here for a while.
That was the crowd sound.
I see.
It was not very good.
For us dancing?
Yes, that's 11 stories in 11 minutes, and we'll be right back after this.
Next, Ticketmaster.
You need a handbook to keep up with the parking rules and regulations. I've found a reason for a new ticket.
Something stinks.
This has been going on on a daily basis. We had sewage coming out for the past 8 months.
Kidney donor fired.
It appears that I was used, there, that she used her power to manipulate me.